Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the international webinar series on holistic health, well-being, and sustainable development 2022-2023, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 76 years of independence. India's G20 presidency, United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030, as part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Arts, Sciences and Wellbeing. Before we start our sessions today, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः.
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's commemorations. Today is commemorated as this entire week, starting from today, is commemorated as Computer Science Education Week in US from December 6th to 12th. Computer Science Education Week or CS Ed Week is celebrated from December 6th to 12th this year. The largest learning event in the history, Computer Science Education Week aims to get K-12 students interested in computer coding. During the second week in December, students are encouraged to take part in an hour of code. During this event, students are literally expected to code for an hour. Along with coding, Computer Science Education Week also highlights the importance of computer science. Computer science is an important subject because it teaches problem solving and analytical skills. It is an essential skill in the modern job market. Computing in the Coalition initiated the first Computer Science Education Week in 2009. Tech giants such as Google, Intel, and National Science Foundation came together to fund special week. The week of December 6 to 12 was chosen in honor of Grace Hopper's birthday. She was born on December 9, 1906, and is known as the pioneer of computer programming. In 2013, Hadi Patovi, founder and CEO of Code.org, started the initiative called Hour of Code, in which over 15 million students across 167 countries participated. In 2015, the Hour of Code reached 100 million hours, making Computer Science Education Week the largest education campaign in history. Thanks to its widespread popularity and participation, the Hour of Code continues to be an event that still generates a lot of attention. Computer coding is also known as programming. Codes are programs that tell computer what to do by writing out instructions. Although a regular user might not see it, coding is anywhere. Any computer device such as desktop computers, tablets, and smartphones uses coding. Coding is also essential in the creation of websites and apps. Computer coding also drives the most intelligent robots. Along with coding, this week also promotes the importance of computer science education. Computer science benefits society in countless ways. Its numerous applications means that computer science also creates jobs. Research shows that jobs in the field are expected to grow by 13% by 2026. This is much faster than all other occupations. For the reason alone, students are more likely to take computer science classes in higher education. Ada Lovelace writes the first code in between 1842 to 1849. The English mathematician and writer writes code on Charles Babbage's proposed mechanical computer, the analytical engine. The first recognizably modern electrically powered computers are created in 1940s, and Fortran, a general purpose programming language, is invented at IBM by a team led by John Backus in 1954. Java, a high-level programming language, is developed by James Gosling at Sun Microsystems in 1995. Over 45% of US schools offer computer science courses. As part of Code with Google's portfolio of CS education programs, CodeNext is expanding. Launched in 2015, CodeNext offers free computer science education with a focus on Black and Latinx high school students. Computer science education nurtures problem-solving skills and creativity. The goal of the Hour of Code is to demystify code and show that anybody can learn the basics. Since code.org was launched in 2013, over 100 million students have participated in 2 lakh code.org events worldwide. So encourage students to join the Hour of Code. More than 2 lakh Hour of Code events are held during this week in over 180 countries. Encourage students to engage in the Hour of Code event during Computer Science Education Week. Learn to code. You can even teach yourself to code. The first thing you will need to do is figure out what computer programming language is and you want to use. Some of these include HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So learn to code by book, take an online course, or use an interactive tutorial. There are around 700 programming languages. Some of the most popular languages are JavaScript, Swiss, Scala, Python, PHP, Go, Rust, Ruby, and C++, and so on. Coding is used for communicating with computers, so it enables anyone, any field to operate efficiently on computers. German mathematician John von Neumann first theorized the concept in the late 1940s, where viruses figured out before computers were built. The first released computer virus, L Cloner, was written by a 15-year-old. It infected Apple II computers. NASA chooses not to write new code or design new programs as it would be expensive. So if it still works, they use it. So NASA still uses programs from the 1970s. So almost everything that we use today is powered by a computer in some way. This week recognizes the internal role that computers play in modern life. In today's day and age, it's important to know how to work with a computer at very basic level. We all use laptops, tablets, and smartphones. Adequate information on how to use these devices optimally can make life so much easier and provide career opportunities. As we have learned earlier, jobs created to computers are growing at an incredible speed. Participating in Computer Science Education Week can help you find a job you like or give an edge in current position. This week is also commemorated as National Influenza Vaccination Week. In US, from December 6th to 12th, National Influenza Vaccination Week, NIVW, is observed between December 6th and 12th as a gentle reminder for you to stay protected in the upcoming winter months. If you haven't already taken your vaccination shot, it's not too late. We encourage you to get your dose as early as possible. The season for flu is quite unpredictable. It can begin as early as fall and last up to spring. Conventionally, flu activity is at its peak during winter, and so public health care professionals, advocates, and communities join hands to promote flu vaccination. Many people tend to show a cavalier attitude towards flu, dismissing it as a bad cold, but it's more than that. It can cause serious health complications such as bacterial infections or pneumonia and can get you admitted to a hospital if not treated at the right time. The flu can even lead to death. To prevent such mishaps and raise awareness, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, created NIVW in 2005. Spanish flu, also known as the 1918 influenza pandemic, was one of the deadliest flu outbreaks in the human history caused by the H1N1 influenza virus. The disease spread across the globe towards the end of World War I. The earliest case of flu was detected in military personnel in Kansas, March 1918. The Spanish flu infected almost one third of the world's population in four successive waves. It recorded a high death toll ranging from 25 to 50 million worldwide, killing 6,75,000 people in the US alone. The high mortality rate among young adults between ages 20 and 40 was a remarkable feature of the influenza pandemic. Although vaccination against influenza began in the 1930s, it was only until 1945 that it saw widespread availability among civilians in America. One of the lead researchers of this vaccine was Dr. Jonas Salk, who is best known for developing the polio vaccine in the 1950s. The US still witnessed tens of thousands of deaths caused by influenza each year. Flu can affect anyone, but those at higher risk are aged 65 plus, little children, pregnant women, and people with chronic illness. And infected persons can pass it to someone at a high risk of severe illness, including babies younger than 6 months who are too young to get a flu vaccine. To prevent this spread, the Advisory Committee of CDC urges every individual to get vaccinated, including people in good health. Let's celebrate National Influenza Vaccination Week as responsible citizens and continue the flu vaccination season in order to protect as many people as possible. So scientists isolate influenza A viruses, providing that flu is not caused by bacteria. In 1933, the US Public Health Service recommends annual flu shots for people at high risk of contracting flu, people with chronic diseases, anyone above 65, and pregnant women. In 1960, the first nasal spray flu vaccine gets authorized for public use in 2003. The genomes of the virus from the 1918 pandemic are fully sequenced in 2005. Pregnant women can get their shot in any trimester, but doctors sometimes advise pregnant women to get the vaccine in their third semester so that the baby is safe after birth. So there is also a possibility to contract the virus even after receiving the vaccination. On the bright side, the vaccine reduces the risk of falling sick by 40 to 60%. Ideally, a flu vaccine takes up to 2 weeks to develop antibodies to fight the virus. So it's wise to be cautious and avoid close contact during this period to help stop the spread. So volunteer at a vaccination drive, help people register for slots, make fun placards to direct them over to vaccination centers or reach out to underprivileged people. It's always nice to be conscious of matters as serious as flu vaccination. CDC usually hosts webinars to promote the vaccination week, and you can also be part of it. And events like us also create awareness on various occasions. So you can utilize this opportunity to create awareness and also get awareness on various aspects. Influenza vaccines have mostly proved to be safe. Common side effects include muscle pain, tiredness, and mild fever among 5 to 10% of children. Flu patients with good immunity normally takes about 2 weeks to recover, but some people might develop serious complications. The flu is highly contagious even before visible symptoms appear. You must strictly avoid contact with anyone for up to 5 to 7 days after you are diagnosed. Apart from babies below 6 months old, the vaccine could be a hazard for people who have acute allergic reactions to it. Much like the COVID-19 virus, the flu virus can enter your body through your eyes, nose, and mouth. Flu vaccinations reduce the risk of getting admitted to hospitals every year. In 2019 and 2020, vaccination drives prevented an estimated 105,000 hospitalizations. The vaccine protects pregnant women from contracting lung infections during and after their pregnancy. Studies have also shown that vaccination prevents the baby from getting sick for several months after birth. Flu vaccination can significantly reduce the chances of a child dying from the flu, so it is also a lifesaver for children. Today is also commemorated as National Day of Remembrance and Action on Violence Against Women in Canada. Formally called White Ribbon Day, the day marks the anniversary of the Ecole Polytechnique massacre in 1989. As we reflect on the act of senseless violence that claimed the lives of 14 women, we emphasize our dedication to the fighting the hatred that inspired the tragedy. So the National Day of Remembrance and Action on Violence Against Women in Canada honors victims of gender-based violence and those who have died because of it. It is also an opportunity to act and do our part to create a better world. We can overcome gender-based violence by reflecting and learning from the past, relating to the survivors, and speaking against violent behavior. The Canadian Parliament established the day in 1991 to commemorate the 1989 massacre at Polytechnique Montreal, previously École Polytechnique de Montréal. As we mourn the deaths, we must also remember all those who continue to be the victims of gender-based violence. Canadians have constructed memorial sites throughout the country in response to the tragedy, ensuring that people are aware of the events, making society aware of how frequently violence against women occurs, and honoring the lives of those who had been killed. Every act of violence against women is motivated by a perception that women are less human than males. As a result, the National Day of Remembrance and Action on Violence Against Women commemorates more than one massacre. It is a call for awareness and change in the face of male violence against women worldwide. According to the United Nations, 35% of the women are victims of some form of sexual and physical violence inflicted by an intimate partner or non-partner. This day serves as a reminder of the danger of the power imbalance between men and women worldwide, and that we have a responsibility to do something about it. So victims of gender-based violence often suffer reproductive and sexual health issues such as unwanted pregnancies, STDs, traumatic fistula, and unsafe abortions. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention highlight sexual violence, physical violence, psychological aggression, and stalking as four most common types of partner violence. Taking action is the best way to end gender based violence. Here is how you can do it: pay attention to survivors, learn from them, and believe their reports, educate the next generation based on what you have learned, learn more about consent, identify the signs of physical and sexual abuse. Don't shy away from starting a conversation. The only way to win the battle is to know the enemy, study the history of gender based violence, and share the information to help spread awareness and help those who need it. Donate to charities for victims of gender based violence. Your donations go a long way in helping survivors adjust and cope with trauma. Looking up participating organizations around you and join their events, volunteer your time, and lend your voice to the cause. Over 15 million girls under 18 get married every year, that is about 28 every minute. Approximately 30% of females report that they were forced into their first sexual experiences with unwanted advances. In 2015, over 58% of HIV infections were attributed to young women and adolescent girls, which are high in HIV numbers. Females between 15 to 44 old are more likely to be the victims of domestic violence or rape than car accidents, cancer, or malaria. 1 in every 3 women worldwide is a victim of sexual or physical violence. We can't change it if we don't talk about it. This observance helps us to create awareness about the violence that women suffer at the hands of men. We all get to act and stand straight against discrimination and gender based violence. Our actions help to change society's attitude towards women and minorities. Countless lives are lost to the horrors of gender based violence every year. This holiday is an opportunity to remember the victims we lost and what they endured. So today is also commemorated as National Microwave Oven Day in the US. It is a day to celebrate one of the most influential kitchen appliances. Microwave ovens serve a variety of uses such as making popcorn, heating leftovers, melting chocolate and butter, and even heating water. These days, you can even make microwave fudge or cake. Microwave ovens also use less energy than conventional ovens, sometimes up to 80% less. There is no doubt that microwave ovens change our lives for better. So it's for no surprise that we have a day dedicated to celebrating the microwave's usefulness. Percy Spencer, a self-taught American engineer, developed a means to prepare food with microwaves safely. In 1945, he realized a candy bar in his pocket was melting while working with active radar. Amazed by his discovery, Spencer set out to make popcorn in the microwaves. Then he attempted to cook an egg. The egg test performed far worse than the popcorn test and blew up in the co-worker's face. Nowadays, we know that we can use microwave ovens to cook or even poach eggs. So Spencer, who worked at Raytheon, experimented with numerous ways to cook food with microwaves safely. He discovered that he could direct the magnetron's power into a metal box and trap it there. He also noted that the food placed in the box quickly heated up. So Raytheon submitted a patent for the microwave oven on October 8, 1945. Raytheon introduced the Radar Range microwave in 1947, which stood nearly 6 feet tall and cost $5,000. In 1955, Raytheon outsourced its patents to Tuppan, which launched a microwave that still wasn't applicable for domestic use and costed $1,290. Raytheon bought Amana in 1965 and released a countertop microwave for $495 in 1967. Shortly after, Litton invented a microwave oven with a design similar to those used today, which helped promote home microwaves even more. In the United States, there were around 40,000 microwaves in use in 1971, rising to 1 million by 1975. Although some early models leaked, giving them a negative reputation, their popularity grew. Recipes from microwavable meals were abundant throughout the 1980s, as were the consumer goods like cupcakes. Recipes from microwave meals were abundant throughout the 1980s, as were consumer goods like cupcake kits, but the majority of these items were of poor quality. Nonetheless, by 1986, around 25% of the American households owned a microwave, and by 1997, the figure had climbed to 90%. If you properly maintain the microwave, you shouldn't have any problems using it even if it's sold. However, if it has been damaged, you should get it checked. Microwave radiation can cause cataracts in the eye, temporary sterility, and skin burns. You might want to buy a microwave leakage tester to be on the safe side. Although the original microwave was perfect for quick snacks, it was actually intended to restaurant use for to reheat meals on airplanes. So reheat your leftovers or make meals from scratch with your microwave oven. Give your appliance a special status in your life today. Don't have a microwave oven, or don't or do you need any upgrade? This is a perfect day to make the purchase and welcome your new favorite appliance in the fold. Both Jupiter and Sun emits microwaves, and microwaves are also in space. You can even use a microwave to remove labels from jars. Spinach retains virtually all the folate in it when cooked in a microwave and loses about 77% when cooked on a traditional stove. Sealed with sealed containers or food such as eggs or squash can explode when heated in a microwave because of the pressure buildup. Amazon currently has 3,800 microwave cookbooks on sale. With a microwave, you never have to wait too long to enjoy your meal. Microwaves can cook faster than traditional ovens and make less of a mess. Microwave ovens take the stress out of Microwave ovens take the stress out of reheating leftovers. too long to enjoy your meal. Microwaves can cook faster than traditional owners and make less of a mess. Microwaves oven take the stress out of reheating leftovers. You can warm your push meals to push of a button. If it were easier, it would probably be illegal. With microwave ovens, you never have to worry about getting your food burnt. The timer ensures that your meal is just the way you like it. No burnt flavors for you. Today is also commemorated as National Miners Day in US. Despite federal efforts to ensure safe working conditions for miners, they have one of the most difficult and dangerous jobs you can ever imagine. To recognize their efforts, Congress had declared December 6 National Miners Day. With our importance live economically depends on them. So on this day, we should all take a moment to think about the many ways that miners play in our daily lives. In the mine minerals contribute to things like road, houses, cars, and computers. Pearland Country, USA 1976, the documentary uncovers the violent strike between miners and the owners in rural Kentucky. The story shows the tough life of working in the pit, the role of trade unions, and how labor based professions struggle in a corporate ruled economy. The Miners' Hymns 2010. Based on a true story, watch 9 miners struggle for survival after being trapped underground. The Pennsylvania's Miners Story 2002. Little Accidents 2014. The drama begins with a deadly mining accident and unfolds in a series of unfortunate circumstances for the miners and their families. In North Country 2005, a single mother and one of the first women at the iron mine in Minnesota, Josie Ames, played by Charlize Theron, depicts the challenge of working in a male-dominated industry and goes on to the female to file a landmark sexual harassment suit. So miners extract our natural resources, literally making it possible for us to enjoy the comforts of modern life. They are challenging job. It's not easy. Potential dangers for coal miners include suffocation, gas poisoning, roof collapse, rock burst, and gas explosion. Today is also commemorated as National Pawnbrokers Day in US. The word pawn comes from the patinum, the Latin word for cloth or clothing. Pawnbroking history goes back thousands of years to the ancient Roman and Greek empires and China in the east. Pawnbrokers provide cash loans in exchange for their goods and property as collateral. The pawnbroker returns the collateral after the person repays the loan with interest. If clients don't pay up, they forfeit their property and the pawnbroker can sell it to recoup the loan. But pawnbrokers can also play the role of a charitable organization. In Padua, Italy, if Francis and Friar Barnaba Masses started the Monte di Pita initiative in 1450. The movement offered financial aid to people, giving them no interest loans for pawned items. The idea was to get people to make donations to the church as opposed to paying interest. The idea gained popularity in Italy and then spread to other regions in Europe. It might be a surprise to you that musical instruments are among the most pawned items over the centuries. On Pawnbrokers Day, pawnbrokers often donate the forfeited instruments to schools or charitable organizations who need them, which allows children who wouldn't ordinarily have access to these instruments the opportunity to use them. And talk about modern day heroes. But they weren't always considered heroes from 1603 until 1872. An act was passed against brokers that aimed to undermine counterfeit brokers throughout London. Brokers in the category were informed to as fences. In England, the Pawnbrokers Act of 1872 established regulations that could protect pawnbrokers from unwillingly being sold stolen items, and it is established the interest rate on pawn items and general guidelines that define the industry to this day. The traditional pawn shop sign has 3 gold balls hanging from a bar. Although the symbol's origin is contested, most people believe it traces back to Medici family of Florence, Italy. It is symbolic because it refers to the Lombardy region where pawn shop bank originated under the name of Lombard banking. People pawn all sort of items at pawn shops, but these are among the most common like gold and jewelry, electronics and appliances, guns, hunting rifles and pistols, and music instruments. Pawnbrokers mostly rely on repeat business from customers they know and trust, but they also note information such as serial numbers, markings on the item, and the general condition, and collect the customer's ID and other information. So pawnbrokers provide an important service, one that would probably can't do without. And this holiday allows us to recognize their contribution to the society. With over 11,000 pawnbrokers in the US, pawnbroking makes a visible contribution to the economy. The industry pulls in over $14.5 billion in revenue annually. Finally, today is also World Rickshaw Day, which is commemorated. Rickshaws are not only entertaining, but they all are also inspiring. Gravity-defying feats of physics take rickshaws to the next level and prove to us that are the only limits we have, the ones we have placed on ourselves. A trick shot is a seemingly unlikely or impossible shot, or one that requires great skill to make. World Trick Shot Day was created by the Harlem Globetrotters to allow fans around the world to demonstrate what they can do with some imagination, creativity, a basketball, and a hoop. The Harlem Globetrotters, founded by Abe Saperstein, played their first basketball game and made their first shot in 1926 and have been making waves in the world of sports and entertainment ever since. They gained popularity with their antics and amazing abilities on the basketball court. Today, they hold numerous world records for their feats and continue to push the limits of the game. They also invite engaged fans all over the world by engaging encouraging them to make quick short videos and share them. Popular globetrotter Hammer Harrison is reported to have we practiced them because it is such a thrill for us and our fans. Our fans give us great feedback what we post them, and we love getting the chance to see what they can do too. The Globetrotters are proud inductees of Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame and have entertained hundreds of millions of fans, including presidents, popes, kings, and queens. Over 9 thrilling decades, all these make a remarkable one to show that we humans have no limits to what we can do. Today is also commemorated as Put on Your Own Shoes Day, which is held annually on December 6th, where we can see this day as a metaphor for proudly strutting your stuff or teaching a toddler to put on their shoes. Shoes have been a component of human wardrobes since ancient times. In fact, the oldest preserved shoe in the world was discovered in Armenia. It is estimated to be around 5,000 years old. Historically, shoes were quite basic and were simply used for practical reasons, such as to protect feet from the elements. Rather than for the comfort and for fashion, it was actually not until the 1800s that the shoes began being made specifically for the left and right feet. Footwear has come a long way since then and has changed drastically over the centuries. Made from palm leaves, papyrus fiber, and raw leather, the first sandals, which were stretched and tied to the end of the foot, appeared in ancient Greek Egypt. Initially, only clerics and pharaohs wore sandals, but later on, all ancient Egyptians began wearing them, and they came in various colors which symbolized the different social classes. So, during the Renaissance period, European royalty often wore shoes with high heels as high as 30 centimeters to show off their superiority. This also allowed them to casually walk through the puddles. These were first examples of modern platform shoes. King Louis XIV of France played a significant role in spreading the popularity of high heels. Even now, men's high heels are referred to as French shoes by many fashion historians. Footwear wouldn't start being truly fashionable until around the Baroque period, when the design of the person's shoe was a key indicator of their social class. The higher their heels, the higher the class. Anyone walking around without any shoes on probably wasn't doing so well. The biggest boom in the production of footwear occurred during the Industrial Revolution. Inventors and craftsmen in the United Kingdom and the North America developed a footwear sewing machine and began a mass producing shoes made of fabric. Jan Ernest Metzeler came up with the making method that allowed about 700 pairs of shoes to be produced each day. Footwear became accessible to everyone, and finally, from the middle of the 19th century, shoes weren't customized for left and right foot. So today's shoes are multi-billion dollar industry. Finally, today is also commemorated as Old Driver Safety Awareness Week from today till December 10th in US. So we celebrate Older Driver Safety Awareness Week in the first full week of December from December 6th to 10th this year to make the roads a safe place for the older generation. The elderly may experience several challenges such as weak eyesight, hearing issues, dementia, sleep disorders, and physical abilities that may impact their driving. These drivers are more at risk of experiencing car crashes that often lead to death. It is also important to note that traveling in vehicles is often necessary for the elderly who cannot walk for long intervals or distances. So, do your part in making the world a better place for the older drivers and celebrate Older Driver Safety Awareness Week. So, based on the statistics from Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, there are about 44 million licensed drivers over 65. These individuals often choose driving over walking due to certain disabilities, illness, or lack of strength. However, it's tragic that around 7,700 of these older drivers die in motor vehicle accidents annually, and more than 257,000 sustain severe injuries and have to visit the ER. So these accidents can be avoided if all drivers wear a seatbelt and take note of the required security measures. They are less likely to experience fatal injuries even if a car crash occurs. It is also important for the younger generation to follow traffic rules, keeping in mind that many elders have slow reflexes due to physical ailments and may not be able to save themselves when confronted with a reckless driver. The American Occupational Therapy Association initiated the Old Driver Safety Awareness Week in 2009 to discuss the various aspects of driving awareness for the old. They choose December as a way for families to gather and ponder driver safety. Created in 1970, the American Occupational Therapy Association, AOTA, is a national professional association representing in the interest and concerns of So driver safety assess the safety of a driver in different traffic conditions. And this course helps drivers understand speed limits and road safety. The most important rule of driving is to focus on the road and avoid accidents. So host a driving session for the elderly, teach the elderly in your town about the importance of driving safety and measures they can take to secure themselves. Drinking and driving laws, enforcing these laws around the world could reduce alcohol-related crashes by 20%. More than 1.2 million die from crashes every year. Over 50 million people become victims of crashes every year, injuries and disabilities caused by the traffic crashes. Only 45 countries have national drink and drive laws that meet best practices. Using a phone while driving increases your chance of crashing by 400%. So the week is essential since it talks about the importance of driving safety awareness and teaches one to be the safe on the road. This week plays a great role in bringing the elderly problems to the forefront. It also explains measures that all drivers need to take when on the road. The week highlights the elderly problems and provides solutions that we can apply to increase driver safety awareness. So with this, we shall end today's commemorations. Thank you everyone for joining us. So the feedback form for today's session has been launched in the form of polls. We request everyone to quickly fill up the feedback form. All the certificates shall be issued at the end of the series. You may download them from the website. So we thank you everyone. For joining us. See you all tomorrow at the same time with the same link, different commemorations. Take care. Good night.